Good morning. Standing behind me lies an incredible World War II piece of history, a humble little building that contains one of the greatest secrets of World War II. More important than even that, an incredible, really incredible story about a man known as Monty in the local area who literally saved so many lives and discovered one of Germany's most secretive of weapons. So let's take a look and see what we discover. I think you're going to like this one. Enjoy your history lesson. Come on. Located in Worcestershire lies one of the Second World War's greatest secrets, and no doubt was a place that saved many lives during the war, that of Guarlford Communications listening post. Although there are still some remains of similar sites scattered across the country, it's safe to say that this has to be one of the best ones for its condition. Operated by the RAF on behalf of the Radio Countermeasures Group, the site was made operational by 1943, and its role was to monitor the reactions of the German radar stations to the jammers and other devices produced by the Telecommunications Research Establishment, or TRE. This is because German radar stations reported over wireless telegraphy using low-level codes that were easily broken. This particular station was run by a gentleman named L.A. Moncrief, or Monty for those who knew him best. He was an extremely experienced operator serving on naval airships in the First World War. He was noted as having the ability to recognise the individual sender, known as fingerprinting, and so could note the comings and goings of the German operators with subtle changes in the rhythm of Morse or the way in which an operator opened or closed their transmissions. It was in 1943 when his hard work really paid off in a big way, when he monitored the redeployment of German radar operators from the French coast to Peenemünde, which led to a greater focus on the Baltic coast and the discovery of the V2 weapons programme. And along with other intelligence, this delayed the use of the V2 against Britain. So with all that said, this humble site really has its own historic stamp in the defence of Britain during World War II, and an unsung role it played. And hopefully with a video like this, it will never be forgotten. Hello and welcome back to the channel. Wow. It is a glorious, I can't speak. It's a glorious day today in Worcestershire. And this piece of history is absolutely incredible. In fact, it's so early in the morning that the light has just come up. In fact, I was driving all through the night. Not all through the night, all through the very early hours of the morning to come here, because it really means a lot to me to actually visit this place. So this is the monitoring station. Wow. So we're inside. We've arrived at the rear of the monitoring station. You sort of saw it. I went actually through that window. I think a lot of people have done that because of the way that it was. In fact, the doorway is so overgrown that I probably couldn't get to it, so I've decided to come around this way, but clearly a lot of people have gone that way. But I tell you what, it is an absolute honour to come here all this way. It took me about 3 hours to drive from my home in Kent just to see this history. There's actually a lot of graffiti in here. I wasn't expecting that. You can see that obviously animals and that a lot are using this, and clearly being used as some sort of pen for sheep, I would assume. But wow, So let's just talk about this. So in the images, well, in the image that you saw, this was the main section of the monitoring station, and obviously you saw all of the electronic hardware that would have been available, obviously during World War II, and it is just a thing to witness, to sort of see the condition of how well this is. I mean, everything is pretty much original in this place. And I'm sorry if it's coming out a little bit dark, but I don't really care because the light is coming through, but they've boarded up one side of this here. But I saw that people have come through and had a look. I mean, obviously it's graffiti, but people have been littering. So hopefully you enjoyed that story about Monty and the V2 rockets. You know, you've got to understand that a place like this, just, you know, it's so humble in its location and its nature. And yet it really did provide such an important, you know, lifeline in the defence of Britain, really. Look at that light. Now, what I didn't mention in the history lesson, because I like to give you some extra little bits, is that afterwards it was noted that I think there was somebody who took this up as a residential sort of like small holding, and then I think it was used as a chicken farm. Yeah, another chicken farm. Seems to be the way. Look at this. So what we've got is we've got a door here. Let me just see if I can open that, and that's what we were looking at through that entrance point there. We've got a door here, which would have been the main door, and then if I can look round, yeah, so just a little brick wall, nothing special coming through. There's one of your old light switches, so you would have come in, turn the lights on. You've got 4 individual rooms here, so 1, 2, 3, and then number 4 here. This looks to be the main power room, because you can still see, look at that. Look at that. Big old chunky off switch. There are birds nesting around this area, so like I said, I'm going to be very, very careful. I'm not going to spend too long in here. So, as I always say before, nature first. Obviously, whoever's been using this as storage. But to sort of just understand, I mean, these are the original doors, for God's sake. Can you believe that? The actual original doors. All the wiring, look, so all the cabling from the antennas that again you saw in the history lesson in the old photo or photos. Getting a little bit further. There you go, look at that, all those switches. I don't confess to never confess to sort of knowing the ins and outs of a place like this, but I'm very well aware of its importance. More importantly, how rare this is. So, like I sort of mentioned in the history lesson, there are still surviving buildings like this around. This isn't what I would class as uncommon. However, the condition of this place, you know, I've been in bunkers that are worse condition than this, in the middle of nowhere. In other words, bunkers that have no right to be, you know, should be untouched. And you come to a place like this, which is on a footpath. So again, we're not breaking. I just want to clarify this. We're not breaking in. We're not doing anything dodgy. The footpath is just through there. Let me just show you. So if you can see that, you can see the sty pretty much right in front. There we go. Finger of doom. There you go. That's the footpath. Footpath does go to the other. Well, just strays off a little bit. But you're in the middle of a field, and just, it really is just history at its best, and I really mean that. It doesn't get any better than this. The fact that the switches are still here. Looks like Bakelite probably in there, and that says Tucker. the switches. And the fact that we actually have old photos of this place. There are more online, but I felt that I could probably only take about a couple off of line because I'm very aware of copyright. And so forgive me that I haven't used all of the photos about this place, but I pretty much picked out the two, or at least two of the most significant ones, which obviously gave you a picture of the site with the actual aerials in it. And like I said, this just is humble building that really helped the detection of the V2 rockets and this man's journey, Monty, as he was commonly known. I mean, to add that personal touch of history on that really brings it alive, and I think that's really more significant than anything else. And you know, as I said, I don't confess to know all the ins and outs of a place like this. I mean, obviously, as you know, like, I'm very passionate about my history and I like to think I know a lot, but even now sometimes I stay humble in sort of saying, do you know what, it's all about learning some extra things. And it just, to know that I can tick this off, that I've done one of these, but done probably one of the best ones you can do for its type, and the fact that it had that personal story. I mean, it ticks everything I need on Phoenix history, and hopefully all of you lot out there watching feel the same. And even though it took me 3 hours to get here, it's so worth it, you know. Because for anybody, what makes it really interesting for me is you look at a building like this and the first immediacy that you see is, because you're in the middle of a field, you think, oh, like abandoned farmhouse or something. And when you look, you see obviously bits of chicken wire, and you see the sort of door and everything that, you know, you see the hay and everything that's on the floor, you know, and you think, oh, it's nothing insignificant. But then the moment you realise what this could be, well, the moment if you did your research and you found out what this place could be, should I say, what a treat. I'm just going to have a look one more time because I just feel it's worthy of doing that, just to see these original doors, the original switches. Like I said, it did have, which I didn't mention in the history lesson, a previous habitation from, I think somebody did at one point live here, or take it over as a form of residency. Obviously, you know, what can you do? Little vent there. There's a little, no, I just thought that was something a little bit, but again, worth investigating when you're here. Like I said, I don't want to take up, I'm very aware that there are a couple of birds nesting. Don't want to take up any more of that. Best thing to do is obviously leave where you found. So I'm going to shut this door because obviously, as you saw, I opened it. So we're going to shut that main door. There we go. Oh, blimey. There we go. Then we'll leave how we came in. Wow. Such an honour to come here. Such a rare, and it really is rare. Look, when you look up, didn't have a look at that. See the pipes? So all this would have been linked to those antennas, and you can imagine him sitting in this place, listening to those German communications. And obviously, because this was quite a sort of local community, it still is. It's got a local vibe to it. I mean, even driving through here, you can tell that. I mean, you know, obviously being somebody from Kent, you know, we're well versed if you've been living in villages all your life, what a community and what a village looks like. But yeah, it's an absolute treat to visit this. I'm just trying to look for anything else. Obviously, you've had your history lesson. We've talked about the former uses afterwards. Excuse my stuttering and everything. I just feel it's the early morning. My brain is still not awake. I've had my coffee. But yeah, hopefully I've done a good job for all of you. We are going to look outside. There's just a couple of little things. Again, I'm not going to confess to knowing exactly what they are, but we're going to have a look nonetheless. The most important thing in this video is to clarify its history and its general context and how important it was. I do believe, I feel like we've done that. The rest of it is those tiny minutiae details that you have to be really, really invested in knowing, which unfortunately for me, you know, as much as I love history, I've got so many things to keep my brain active of trying to constantly learn that sometimes I probably need to swat up a little bit more. But yeah, what a privilege. Amazing. Oh, no sooner have we gone in and the sun has come out, and oh, it's simply stunning. Look at that for a morning view. See, the cars are going by. Oh wow. So you can see the vents that are there, obviously for ventilation. You can imagine probably in winter time that wouldn't have been necessarily a pleasant place. Obviously round here, as you probably saw in the pictures, there was some antennas. What I'm not sure about is this. It looks like a plinth for an antenna, but as we noted on the photo as well, there's really clear proof that they had the mobile monitoring stations as well that were here. Now, the last thing that I want to do, because there's only a couple of things on this site, so there's that concrete plinth, there's obviously the station itself, obviously the guttering is still there. I'm just amazed at the condition of that. And like I say, it's so unassuming. And then we've got this. So again, I'm not going to confess to sort of obviously knowing what each bit is. I don't know if you saw that. That's interesting. It looks like a bit of a vent pipe or something there, or cabling pipe. Birds are starting to wake up. But it's just so unassuming in this part of Worcestershire. Obviously Worcestershire is beautiful anyway, obviously we're stone's throw away from Wales. But yeah, here we go. Looks like some sort of form of drain cover. Again, I'm not going to confess to sort of saying I know what that is. It's quite new to me, all of this. This structure anyway, like I said, it's one that I've never had the opportunity to explore. So I thought I might as well pick a good one. But there we are. Well, I am so grateful I got to explore this. Interesting, I've just realised that door was facing a different way. So when we opened the door here, it was actually going out that way, but I looked and there was a brick wall there. So that, in all possibility, could have been a toilet on this side. So in other words, it's divided up. Looked like there was a brick wall, and I'm assuming that that's its own tiny little alcove bit. Again, I'm not gonna, unfortunately for today, it's just too thick. I did try, but the stinging nettles and everything else have completely defeated me. But you can see the other entrance there, which is obviously what we opened the door out onto, but I didn't see a secondary door. So yeah, that probably could have been a toilet. It makes sense. The toilets always seem to be near the entrances, as we've sort of noted on more air raid shelters. Yeah, Well, there you go. I've probably said it before on the channel, but when I say, does it get any better than this? But this is real history. I mean, this is, the condition of that place just blew my mind. I really wasn't expecting it to be as good. Tiny bit of graffiti in there, which was amazing, because you think to yourself, we are literally in the middle of nowhere. But hey. And yeah, if you check my boots, obviously the dew has, obviously they are waterproof, don't worry everybody, they're not soaked, thankfully. I'm not got soaked socks. But there you go, there was our listening post. Something that really did have an effect on the monitoring of the V2 German rocket, and even though they were still obviously active, they still did destroy parts of the southeast especially. This definitely helped them locate this tiny humble little building, helped locate where they were, and also helped with the understanding of the German jamming. But you knew all of that anyway in your history lesson. And as I stare at the winding hills above, that's where I will part and say goodbye to you all. Thank you so much for watching. Feel free to spread the word of the channel. Much love to all of you out there. I hope you really enjoyed this one. It was a treat for me, and I really feel that I'm so humbly grateful that I got to come here and do this wonderful place. So stay tuned for some more adventures in the immortal words of Phoenix history, because history matters. It really does, doesn't it? And I will see y'all very soon. Look after yourselves, everybody. Ready? Come on in. Kapow. Off for another adventure. You gonna come along with me? Come on in.